Hey, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It's freaking Facebook. It says I just now went live. So hey again. Hey, happy Tuesday. It's hard to not be happy. Do you see this? Do you see whichever way I have to point my finger? See this light coming in here? Yes. Super sunny. It's not quite as warm as yesterday, but it's still beautiful. So it's hard not to be happy. Um, the end of winter is nigh. Anyway, welcome to Tuesday Tales. Welcome to the new members of the group. This is our Tuesday training where I generally try to tag everybody as I have been requested to do, but I can only do that if Facebook feels like it's having a good day. Come on. Okay, we're getting there. Today, Facebook says there is no tagging everyone, but I can highlight. So some of y'all will get the message, and for the rest of y'all, I am sorry. Okay, there you go. All right, so for those of you that are new, again, hi, welcome. I'm Margaret, and on Tuesdays, we do this thing called Tuesday Tales. I come in and give you 20-minute training on a variety of different topics that I work with. Okay, so from the osteopathic background, from the equine massage background, from the 30 plus years as a horse owner, rider, competitor, all the things, um, whatever, from all of the backgrounds. And so variety of things on Tuesdays. And how you guys liking it? How you liking the new stuff coming out? I know like the weekend was a bit much. The weekend was a bit much because I wanted to make sure that we got all of the pieces for the quiz. Have you guys taken the quiz yet? So for those of you that are like, why are we taking a silly quiz? Let me tell you why. The quiz was actually created with Jung's personality archetypes in mind. And so, what this allows us to do is hone in on what you're already really good at, what you're naturally gifted at doing when it comes to connecting to horses and potentially even healing horses. Because I think that we are all healers and that all of our horses are healers too. We're here to heal each other, and through relationships and connection, we naturally heal one another, even across species, right? So the quiz is put together with those archetypes in mind, actual real psychological archetypes that help us to see what you're already naturally good at and what you need some help developing. Because, it is so easy for us to just keep going and learning the things that we're good at because it feels good, because it's easy, right? But then we don't become our full potential. We don't reach our full potential. When we lean into challenge just a little bit, we get to grow and become even more of what we already are, right? You're already enough, but every day you're becoming a little bit more. And so that's what the quiz was designed to do. The quiz is going to put you into your orders, and you get to find your welcome post specific to your order. Once you have your quiz result, all the orders are listed above in the featured section. If you're on your phone, you got to click the little button so it'll show you all of the featured section. And then you can go in there and you can connect with the people in your order. And what's going to happen moving forward is we're going to have fun order specific challenges, things that are going to push you out of your general comfort zone a little bit, just a little tiny bit, so that you can become better at the things that you need to get better at. And you'll definitely get to hone your skills that you're already good at, because that's just fun and we get to grow in all of the ways, but really helping us to see where we each individually have a little bit of space to grow. And then we're also going to have big overarching challenge going on as well. So what you can see through the welcome posts is that every month, one person is going to get chosen to get a 24-hour backstage sneak peek into the Intuitive Equine Bodywork Certification mentorship program. And the mentorship specifically because in the mentorship section of the program, we go over all of the other things. So in the certification program, you're going to develop your intuition, you're going to actually learn massage techniques, you're going to evaluate, learn how to assess a horse and understand what's actually going on with them, from pain patterns to nutritional things. All of that kind of stuff is in the main certification. But when you come over to the mentorship, you get things like looking at feet, looking at teeth, how those things impact the rest of the body, things like EPM and PSSM, and how we can help the horse from a holistic perspective, and really just diving deeper into things like fascia and how they work, and why, the why behind a lot of the things that we do, right? Um, so that is up for grabs for one person every month to kind of get a sneak peek, get in there, listen to all of the voice notes on podcast, because that's the way we roll. Um, Ain't nobody got time to sit around and watch videos all day, right? So that's one thing. And then we also have quarterly trainings. So one order, the order with the highest participation points, is going to get a quarterly training from me. And you guys will get to pick what that training is. We're going to give you some options. You tell me what you want, and you guys will get a personal, kind of personal. It's your order. So if there's only 10 people in your order, then the 10 of you are going to come in and we're going to do a training just for you guys. And that'll happen once a quarter. So that's a couple of the things that we have going on with the quiz and the orders and all the things. Check those things out. Ask your questions. Like, get involved, because I want to have fun in here, you guys. Like, there's so many horse groups out there, and you are more than welcome. One of the things you can do to get points for your order is to post your pictures in here and have me do a horse triage for you, where we mark up your photos, and then you get a 20-minute call with me, and we discuss what's actually going on with your horse, what the problem is, and what your next steps are, right? So we can be a serious group in here, and I am here to help you to create change for yourself and your horse. But we get to have fun while we're doing it. We don't need to be serious all the time. And we get to kind of tap into that natural magic and mysticism that is the horse, right? We get to do it both. We don't have to choose one or the other. We get to do both. We get to do all the things in here. We get to have fun. We get to learn. We get to connect and tap into our magic, and also practically and logically assess things, right? And have those conversations where we get to learn and grow as human beings to be better for our horses. So I've spent way too long telling you about all of that because it's super exciting. Let's get into our topic today. So chiropractic and how to get like the most out of it, right? So often I see people recommend, like, somebody's in a Facebook group, one of the Facebook groups out there, one of the many, like, help me help my horse groups. They're like, complaining about my horse is not picking up a canter lead, my horse is not consistent in the canter, my horse just doesn't seem right, just doesn't feel right. My horse is bucking a lot. My horse is XYZ, fill in the blank, right? And so often in the comments, like to the comments, in the comments, everybody's like, get chiropractor, get a chiropractor, get a chiropractor. And yeah, I mean, chiropractors are great. But what we're missing here is order of operations matters, guys. You're going to hear me talk about the order of operations a whole lot because it matters. Just like in math, if you do things in the wrong order, you're going to get the wrong answer, okay? And so when we use chiropractic like this, where it's just our first point of action, right? What tends to happen is the chiropractic adjustment is hard for the person, which makes it uncomfortable for the horse. And then the horse is sore afterwards because what we're essentially doing is forcing the body to adjust. We are doing an adjustment. We are creating a manual adjustment. And sometimes that really serves, okay? Other times it's a limit, right? If our horse is going to be sore for 2 or 3 days after an adjustment, like, did we help? Because what we have to realize is that soft tissue is largely responsible for the structure that is maintained by the skeleton. So if your horse has tension in its lumbar spine, it's pulling that lumbar spine off into the left. When the chiropractor comes in and forces it back to the right, while that is all fine and dandy and we're now back in alignment, we didn't get rid of that tension. We actually just created more inflammation and more strain in that area because we've forced a correction. Instead of coming in first, doing massage, getting all of those soft tissues to relax and to let things go back to the way they're supposed to, when we do that, sometimes the body naturally adjusts it because the body wants to heal itself. The body knows how to heal itself. We don't have to force it to do what it already knows how to do. Then, if the body still needs an adjustment, a chiropractor can come in and help speed the process along. I have had cases where, I've told people, like, I've done what I can do. We now need a chiropractor. I like to take things slow. I like to use osteopathy, which does have the same kind of high velocity. Just so you guys know, chiropractic came from osteopathy. It's rooted from that. So is myofascial release. So is craniosacral therapy. All three of those modalities came from osteopathy, okay? So osteopathy does have the same high velocity, low amplitude adjustments that chiropractic has. In my practice, I don't do those. I like to stick to um, more gentle movements, and what we call osteopathic articular balancing. That's what I rely on. And so it's a lot more gentle, and it can take some time, right? Um, so when I've had a horse where it's just a really, like, he's just really uncomfortable, and we can keep doing this. We can keep coming back and having sessions and providing muscular relief, but he's so out of whack that we need to get the chiropractor in. And you know what? The chiropractic adjustment made all the difference in the world. So of course, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying we should do things in the right order. We should help our horses to help us. They don't want to be naughty. We don't want things to be difficult, and we want to make it a little bit easier on the chiropractor too. And we want to make our money last. So let's make our money last. Let's do the massage first. I know you're like, how am I going to make my money? How am I making it more cost efficient if I'm paying for the massage therapist and then paying for the chiropractor? Well, because when you do it in this order, first of all, you're not going to deal with the inflammation. Your horse isn't going to be a sore afterwards. And also, that chiropractic adjustment is likely to last longer, because the reason that your chiropractor has to keep adjusting the same thing is because those soft tissues are still pulling the bony structures out of alignment. So doesn't it just make sense to address the tension in the soft tissues before we have someone come in and address the bony tissue, or pony tissue, you know what I'm saying, bony structures. So, the other side to that is too, like, it's not always, like, when we're saying soft tissue, it's not always muscle tension. It's also fascia tension. There's this great TED talk about fascia. So head yourselves on over to the YouTubes and type in fascia. And there's a video that comes up. It's a TED talk. And this woman has a person, come out in like an elastic, like a superhuman, not a superhuman, a superhero suit, spandex, the whole nine, right? And he's wearing this spandex suit, and she takes a piece of it and she balls it up, and you can see as the suit stretches across his body because of where she's pulling it, how it limits his movement. The suit now is like restricting his movement because she's balling it up, and all the tension is bringing it down to his hip, and his opposite shoulder is restricted in its motion. That, friends, is why order of operations matters, because a chiropractic adjustment is not going to release the restriction of the fascia. You're going to force the motion back. You're going to yank that fascia back, which is, traumatic to the tissue, but it's not going to release the actual restriction, which is not in the shoulder at all. The restriction, range of motion restriction, is in the shoulder, but the actual source of the restriction is in the opposite hip. This is a real thing. This happens all the time. It's not just, well, you put a suit on and this is how it looks. No, this is actually the truth of the matter, which is why it's so important that we address all soft tissues, not just muscles. And massages don't just work on muscles, right? It's impossible. It is literally impossible to impact only one part of the body through massage. You just can't do it because all the pieces are connected, okay? So I have several stories for you, but the one that we'll go with for today is a imported PRE horse, gelding. Wonderful, super sweet. He is working through dressage with his owner, his rider, and when I first met him, he had some things. Okay, like, first of all, he has a lot of things. Like, when you import a PRE from Spain, they don't have a ton of pasture space over there, so it is super common. I mean, they have space, but they don't have space. Okay, so it's super common that these horses don't get turned out, so they're confined to a stall. They don't generally do dental work over there. These are general statements from several clients that have PREs that are imported from Spain. This is the life story of these horses. So no turnout time, no dental care, being pushed into double bridles and upper level work fairly quickly, with limited turnout. So the exercise is being ridden, period. They're started early. And I don't want to say they don't have good hoof care, but they don't have great hoof care, that's for sure. So this particular PRE had a dental issue. And also has feet problems. Like, they're not quite right. And so when I started working on him, here were our main focuses. In the beginning, we were majorly focused on his roach back. You guys, roachback doesn't have to be a permanent thing. It is not always a conformation fall, okay? Obviously, if the baby fell to the ground and it had the roach, there's a better chance that they're going to be stuck with it and it's conformational. But generally speaking, roachbacks are something that are developed over time through tension. Okay, so the biggest thing we were working on was his roachback. His shoulders weren't level, like they weren't symmetrical, which is pretty common, but it also doesn't have to be that way. Okay, and I know everybody's like, all horses are right-handed or left-handed, just like we are, right? And while we don't always say, well, I'm going to learn how to use my right hand. Well, I need to learn how to use my right hand. You all are probably saying left hand, because I'm left-handed. But many of us aren't thinking that we need to balance out how we use our hands. It's just not a concern for us. It is, and it should be. When we're looking at wear and tear of the body and optimal performance, we want symmetrical bodies. Okay, we want right hands that are capable of doing the same things the left hand is capable to do, and vice versa. And so it's the same for our horses. I think it's a huge thing where people are just like, well, that's just the way they are. They're left-handed or they're right-handed. That's an excuse to just accept things the way they are instead of attempting to improve it. And I always tell my clients too, like, it is my job to tell you what perfection looks like, what optimal is, but it's not always something that we're going to obtain. And I'm here to also tell you, we don't have to obtain it. We're just aiming for it, right? The whole like aim for the moon and land amongst the stars business, that's what we're going for. So all of that in mind, this horse had some things going on. So in the beginning, the big deal was we got him to balance out his shoulders a little bit. Like his shoulders were kind of the bane of the existence. There's more to that. In the long run, he had to have hoof work and mouth work stuff done before his shoulders finally really started to level out. Mostly hoof work, but the teeth definitely impacted what was going on in his shoulders and in his hind end. And of course, what's going on in his front end was impacting this roach back. But what we were able to do over the course of I think it was about 9 months, we significantly reduced the roach back through combination of massage and chiropractic. Because when you put the two together, things just get easier. So this horse was on, it was about a 5-week schedule instead of 4, because I was intentionally pairing up with the chiropractor and showing up 24 hours before the chiropractic adjustment. It was about 24 hours. We weren't that super exact, but it was the day before. Okay, so if I knew the chiropractor was coming on Tuesday, I was massaging this horse on Monday, and the chiropractor and I, we talk about clients and we confer and we line up really well. We worked really well together, and so it was about 9 months of this like pairing up, and all of a sudden we're like, hey, I don't think he has a roach back anymore. And it's not just the massage, but it's also not just the chiropractic. And how do we know that, right? Like, because that chiropractor has worked on other horses with a roach back and not gotten that result. And I have worked on horses with a roach back, and I mean, we're getting results, but it's a hell of a lot slower. Because here's the other thing I think people miss is chiropractic is not just here to shove things back to where they belong. Chiropractic is also, again, stemming from osteopathy. The whole premise here is that when we do an adjustment, we're creating mobilization. We're allowing things to move. And that mobilization does not just come from bony structures, okay? We're not going in to a bone that is starting to fuse and forcing it to like jolt and keep moving. Like, that's not the goal here. But when we're specifically looking at the spinal cord and we're, making sure that we've got that mobility going through the spinal cord, it is the same as it is with people. We want that mobility because of what is traveling up and down the spinal cord. Thousands of nerve endings, maybe lots more than thousands. I'm just giving you there's a lot in there, okay? Because and then when you think about it, this is the way I think of a spinal cord. And I don't know why. I guess there was probably construction stuff going on in the schools when I was a kid. In 90s kids. So they were adding the internet, right? And you'd see these really thick wires. They look like wires, but really what they were is they were wire bundles. They were bundles of wires, and then it was like all in one massive sleeve, right? And every so often over a classroom, a bundle would come out and it would go down into the computers in that classroom, and it would go over to the next classroom, and then the bundle of wires would come out and go down to the computers of that classroom. That is a spinal cord. Your spinal cord is just a bunch of different nerve endings and communication systems and cerebral spinal fluid moving through there. So when a chiropractor comes out, they're not just adjusting to shove things back, they're adjusting to create mobilization and space for cerebral spinal fluid to flow, for nerve communication. It's not your spine's in the wrong place and you got to put it back. Okay, it's not how that works. It's just not. There's way more to it than that, and your chiropractor knows that, but you guys don't. You don't. When a chiropractor is making an adjustment, if you've got a really good one, they'll explain to you. They absolutely can explain to you that when we've got a roach back, where we've got that lumbar spine really bunched up and tight, there are specific nerves that are going out from that lumbar spine specifically that are impacting digestion, that are impacting hormones and reproductive systems, as well as just motor nerves, right? Movement. It's way more complicated than I have time to go into. Obviously, we're already over time for today, but chiropractic is so much more. Is so much more than just putting things back. And when we don't follow the order of operations, we don't get the result that chiropractic is trying to offer. When you go in and you do a dry adjustment without releasing tension in the soft tissues first, you're just doing a half-ass job. It's only half the solution. So stop wasting your money on half-ass solutions and invest a little bit so that you can create better long-term results. Okay? All right. Get out there, do fun pony shit, and go take the quiz if you haven't yet. I promise more things are coming, but you got to take your quiz so that you can be put into your order so that you can play along for the fun. So, all right, guys. Catch you next Tuesday.